I don't want to be in politics. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't want to be in politics? And you let the politicians decide everything about your life, your policies, your immigration status. In this country, Kenyans, you decide that you're not going to be involved in politics and let the far right decide how the policies are going to be. And the day they will wake up and decide they're going to put you on a plane, nobody's going to talk. You have no luxury. Every single person is a politician because you have to be involved in what is happening to you, whether we like it or not. Now, one of the things people don't know is that the commissioner's office, unlike London where you have the metropolitan mayor, in the country you have the commissioners. So we are the people most likely. You think that your MPs are more influential. Let me tell you something if you didn't know. The commissioner's office is really influential. We decide how much cancer tax people are going to pay. Did you even know that? Civic education is not only for the people in Kenya. I want to challenge you to understand responsibilities your leaders have. If you do not know what a commissioner does, you just assume it's just another person. We determine we sit down and say how much you're going to pay. And then we decide, and then we give the money to the local authority. And then the local authority will tell them, now, there you go. That is how influential that position is. We oversee how fire, we oversee how the police, we are involved in crime, in how we reduce crime. It's processed. We oversee all that. So it's everything that affects every single person. And it's a huge responsibility. Now imagine, you have brought a black, dominantly white male. And you have to come and make your voice known. Now women, this is where you have to stop thinking small and start thinking big. The time for pettiness and small talk is over. It's time to start thinking big and planning big. You are leaders in your homes. You are also leaders outside your homes. And you have the ability to do so and to do it well. The lens that a woman sees the world is totally different. Always different, because we are also seeing the details and we are also seeing the emotional impact of the policies that are being made. And when they get it wrong, we are the ones who pick up the pieces. So one day someone asked me, so how did you become a political candidate? Let me tell you what happened. I was selected by the Labour Party. I was not asked whether I want to do it, but I had vied for other positions and I had not gotten. My brother here, I think we share the name Kimani. I think there's something in the Kimani. We don't just give up, do we? We don't give up. So the first time I tried to be a councillor, I lost by 101 votes. The second time, I lost by 7 votes. Yes, you can say that again. Ouch. It was counted again and again, 7 votes. Now, 26. Now, my friend who sat there, she went to work the next week and started asking the friend, our colleagues, did you vote? And someone says, no. Did you vote? No. And she walked out. In her office, there were more than 7 people who would have voted for me, and they never voted. So when we see the Gen Zs talking about Tuko Kadi, we need to know it's not just back there. We need to be Kadi also here. Yes. Okay? We need to be here. So, the first thing about a woman is the ability to walk into a space. If you are talking about women in leadership, is ability to walk in a space and making it your own. Daventry, where I was a candidate, I don't live there. I was sent there. It's a predominantly white area. Since the record of time, it has always been a conservative area. They have never had any other party win there. And guess what? That's where I was sent. A black woman with an accent, a black African woman. And the first day I turned up to the meeting, I walked into a room like this, and it was all white. There was no one even brown there. And there I was. Now I've been thrown by the party. Go and do the campaign there. And we campaigned there. Solid 6 weeks only. I had only 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Have the luxury of time, and because it was not a target seat, I did not have the money from the Labour Party. My sister understands. These people in this room, that I, as a black woman, I am the best person they have. And after that, and they looked at me, gave me the opportunity to say why I think I should be the candidate, or rather, well, they didn't have a choice, I was already the candidate, why I am the best person for them. So as a woman, what you have is the ability, the same way we were told about intervening between our children. I had to pray to God to give me the wisdom and the knowledge. And I walked into that room. By the end of that campaign season, the same people who looked at me when I walked in, they campaigned so hard for me, the way they had never campaigned. And we increased that vote by 25%. Since the record of time, that was the highest number of votes the Labour Party had had in that area. They had not seen it. So what am I saying? Women in leadership, in political leadership, it's not anything different from the leadership that you do. But you have to have values, you have to have morals, you have to be a woman of integrity, that you can stand somewhere and you're not afraid of what people are going to say, because you know you have lived a life that is clean. Because in this country, you know what it is like. They test, they check everything about you. We have had politicians who smoked weed when they're in uni, and it's been brought up. So that kind of lifestyle, if you decide to be a politician, make sure that you live a life of honor, because you're going to be checked and checked out. So I hope my journey encourages other people and other women, not only just women, but everybody, because we need more representation. We really do need, and we need young people, Gen Zs coming not only there in Kenya, but also coming up in the United Kingdom. So I hope my journey has encouraged you. So we are more than able, as women, we are more than able as women in this country to take positions here. But the one thing I would want us to do, especially in Kenya, the skills we are acquiring from here are phenomenal. And they would change and improve our country. The things that I'm learning about fire, the things I'm learning about, it is like no other, because I'm on the front seat. I'm talking about budgets. I'm talking about equipment. I'm talking about the training packages that we have for police officers. We are talking uniform. I'm talking about the estate. Every single thing about policing, I am involved in that, including fire, including the equipment, including how are we going to use AI in terms of crime prevention and investigations. Those are the kind of things I'm learning. And my biggest frustration is not having an outlet to make my country, my motherland, equally as good. So I hope that is something, when you become president, that you will consider that all this resource in this room, because we have so much, either in engineering, teaching, every aspect. I think we have so many things covered. I hope we'll have an opportunity to make sure that our country grows as much as the United Kingdom grows. Thank you so very much.
Wow. Do we call you constable? Do we call you constable?
Commissioner.
Commissioner. Commissioner Marian Kimani. Are you inspired? Can we do it?
Yes.
Can Honorable Mother Karua do it?
Yes.
came in today and asked me, I remember him, he said, when Linda Mama was taken out, and it was taken out of the system, why did the women keep quiet? Why did the women not stand up and say, this is ours, we want to keep it? The topic today, although it is the future of a woman in Kenyan politics, we cannot do it without the men. But what we want to say is activate the woman so as they can actually stand for their own as well. Activate the woman power in here, because we have aunties, we have our mothers, we have our sisters who we can tell it's about time. We say enough is enough. So I am looking forward to hear your address, Honorable Mother Karua. All these people here and many more who wanted to be here today, they've been listening to you for years. They have followed you. We would like to hear, where are we going? This is your time for your address. Give it up for Honorable Mother Karua. Tushangilie Kenya kidogo. Tushangilie Kenya. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll do it from here so that I do not acquire that false height. Marianne is tall. I'm not. So let me be my whatever. Good evening, everyone. May I thank you for coming and apologize to those who came early. It took us longer than we expected in our last meeting, and it took us a while coming this way. I also want to thank you for being present physically here on a Sunday evening, and tomorrow is a working day. We don't take it for granted. It's a sacrifice. And as Marianne was talking, I'm wondering, the place of women in politics. Is the place or the future of women in politics. Is the future of our society, future of our communities. Is the future of humanity. Women have always belonged. They've always been a central part of any home, any community, any society. They've been a central part of the world. Nobody questions women in the home. Nobody questions women in the community when they are toiling. In business, the business may be in the husband's name, but guess who's running it? Nobody questions. The questions only come in spaces of power and decision making. That's where the woman question comes in. So for me, the future of women is the future of the home, of the society, of the community, and of the world in general. We belong. You cannot succeed in excluding women. In most countries, our numbers are just slightly higher than those of our brothers. I don't know whether it's our resilience translates into slightly higher numbers, because we are almost 50-50, but women are slightly higher. Like in Kenya is 51-49. So we cannot talk about society without talking about women. What about in our homes? Even a home with parents who are not educated, who value education, they'll pay their all to educate their children. If a girl is showing talent, they'll sell everything to put her through education. If it's a boy, the same. Or they educate all of them. But you see, not everybody is interested in pursuing education after a certain level. I have seen families of all shapes, sizes, backgrounds, investing everything they have to the extent of almost selling or mortgaging the family home to put their kids through school without discrimination. So mostly in our families, The discrimination against girls in education has now ended. It used to be there, where girls were kept home to allow the brothers to go to school. But the perception of discrimination and the patriarchy has not ended. If it's not your daughter running, you will be questioning, what does that woman want? Why is she running? If you found her toiling, going to the field to ensure that they have planted, they've done everything, you will never question. But when it is leadership, you question. This is what has got to stop. To accept everybody's ability. And it's not the women who lose. We lose as a society. Because talent resides in both women and men. And it's not you who chooses where the talent is going to come. It's the maker. You want to say if your girl is the best runner, you are going to start wishing it was your boy. You'll be cheering your daughter all the way. You will not even be remembering that moment that you have boys. You'll be shouting her name, Chebet, Chebet, if it is Chebet, to finish ahead of the others. If it's a boy, the same. At that point in the family, the discrimination vanishes. But we talk of the society, it surfaces once again. In my first term in Parliament, we were debating gender motions, and there's this friend of mine, political friend, he's now late, and he was very much against anything to do with women collectively. And then one day he comes and tells me, the daughter was studying here, law, and he tells me he wants the daughter to come to my farm. I was practicing as well as doing the work of a legislator. He wanted the daughter to come to my chambers. I asked him why. He said he wanted her to study under me because he predicted that we will be the first female attorney general in Kenya. So he was very proud of the daughter. So I let the girl come, but I also sat the father down, and I told him all those harsh words he says during debate on things gender. It's not me he's opposing, or the few women. We were 6 those days in Parliament. We've already made it. We don't need his charity. We're talking about his daughter, my daughter, and the daughters of Kenya who need access. AG will never make it to the finish line if this is your attitude. So please, when we are talking about those things, if you can't understand, just shut your mouth and abstain. Or try to understand them and support us. And he changed completely. He didn't have enough to stand and talk about it, but he never. And learning from him, I would take on our colleagues one by one, sit them down to explain that they are doing a disservice to the females in their household, mainly to their daughters, to their mothers, to their sisters. I realized I and the wives were the competitors of the, not everybody views, we understand gender if you only mention the wife. But daughters are special to fathers. Their mothers touch their mothers and they go crazy. Okay? Touch their sisters. So I realized in that order, the people to talk about are the relatives. So today, I want to say this. Think of the gender debate as a family debate and ask yourself, would you try to cover talent if it shows up in your daughter? What if your daughter is the doctor, is the great surgeon, and not your son? Does it really matter? Your son will have a different talent. We are all made differently. I'm the politician, not my brothers. And I didn't hear my father ask, why isn't your brother vying? Why you? At that point, he didn't see a woman. He saw his daughter. And all he wanted to see is my success. He campaigned for me in every nook and cranny. Being a retired teacher, he went to all his networks. Being a church person, he went to all his religious networks, all his friends. you would have thought it was him campaigning, going home to home. So when you contextualize gender within the family, the barriers do begin to disappear. Previously, men were not giving their daughters property, but today I've seen many doing so, because their daughters are looking after them, sometimes better than the brothers. Things are changing. And let me say this, when we prevent the inclusion of women, the society is poorer, because you are preventing the special talents each one of us has from being included. And in leadership, we see through different lens. If there is debate on whether to have a dispensary or something different, a woman will think about the dispensary, because if a child is sick, they're the ones who will be carrying them to the hospital. If it's about water, it's women who mind about water at the home. If it's about other things, the man may have greater affinity to those things. So when you combine men and women, the outcome you get is the whole picture. When you have only one gender, you get half the picture. So we don't have to make a great case. We already know it. And we know who taught you your first words, who leads you, and who actually is the leader, the first leader of the chest-thumping leaders, or the leaders we call great. It's their mothers or some female who raised them. Because those stages, rarely do fathers get involved in the work of teaching a toddler to walk. A few fathers these days do. But generally speaking, there's a woman who led you. So women are natural leaders. Our nurturing roles make us leaders. Women are managers. That budget for your household, if you're a couple, is the woman managing the kitchen budget. Sometimes an non-existent budget for the poor households. For the single-headed house and female-headed households, which are becoming quite many, it will be the mother alone raising. So let nobody tell you that we should be seen and not heard. You cannot just exclude us. We belong. And I'm so happy in Kenya today, so many women, so many young women are coming forward for all the positions. Well, they haven't come out yet for presidency except me, but I expect they'll be joining me. But for all positions, there are so many, because we must accept competition. Even when siblings are running in the tracks, you don't check where your sibling is until the finishing line. Then you will ask, where is my brother? So a healthy is okay. And we must embrace that. Therefore, we, as women, we step up to contribute to the well-being of our society. When I offer myself as a woman, but I'm also not running away from the fact that I'm a woman, I'm offering myself as a leader who is capable. And I'm telling both the men and women, and especially the women, that 60 years, the affairs of the nation at the highest level have been steered on by our brothers. It's time to think differently. And if there is a capable woman, and I dare say I am, then you can give that chance and we see what comes out. I am saying I'm capable, I have a track record, I've shown you that I can do it, that I have the grit to do difficult work. Because for Kenya, it will not be leisure, it's not a walk in the park. We are totally messed up. It's a cleanup. It involves cleaning, stepping on people's toes. And I'm saying, we are telling Ruto and his government one term. But I'm saying for Karoa also one term. Why? Firstly, we want everybody to get it. Power is transient. It is not a title deed, which you wave at people that this is my space. You do your 5 years. Anybody serious, in 5 years, you can have done a lot of work. But if it's clean up, you must be aware that you step on toes. So you cannot balance to look for a second term and do the kind of work required. So give me mandate, I lay a foundation, and somebody else will come and finish the work. Because nobody will ever finish the work. Today's work will be slightly different than the work of tomorrow and the needs of tomorrow. So it's a continuous thing. And given 5 years, I would do enough for somebody else to come and work in. I would be able to whip the country back to order. That means rule of law. Because we are disorderly at the moment, disorganized. We are totally indisciplined, not only on the roads, in finance, in how we run the economy, how we combat crime or we grow crime, because currently we are incubating crime. When police work with thugs openly, what are we doing? We're incubating crime, serious crime. We are in such a mess when the economy works or grows in the pockets of few. When public finances are indistinguishable from personal finances. Instead of serving the people, instead of serving the critical needs such as health, education, fighting crime and all that, they become bank balances to create millionaires and billionaires. We are just about losing our country. When your life is not protected by the law, or the law is not used to protect your right to life, and the weapons that you buy to safeguard your life are turned on you and take away your life, then we have begun on a downward spiral. And it's time to do something. So I'm inviting you to get involved and to help get value-based leaders, men and women of integrity, not just for the presidency, for the 6 seats. A president, however good, will never come and run your county. You need your MCA and governor. That is the county government. And the governor, a value-based governor, will get good county executives or good county ministers. You need 3 national members of parliament who will safeguard your money and allocate money to the counties, who will make laws and policies for you. And that is the constituency MP, the women rep, and the senator. Then the icing on the cake is a good president. So let's not just, this is not just a topic of women in leadership, it's also real life. And I believe that where my sisters are, they are making a tremendous change and contribution because they are bringing perspectives that would otherwise be absent. So we've got to do this consciously, making sure that our societies, our countries do not miss out on talent, from both women and men. And I think that's the topic for today. In closing, because I just want to say that bringing about change in whatever society is a project, and it's a community project. The same way you get together to do other things. In Kenya, we do unique things because our systems are not running the way yours are running smoothly. If a road is neglected and is impassable, the community gets together to ensure they do something about that road to be able to get their crops to the market or to get a patient to hospital. They'll even contribute money and get somebody to come and repair the worst section of the road as they wait for the government. That contribution is a community project. People even contribute to build schools, to build hospitals. Now, Project Kenya is a community project to bring about good governance. The crisis we are having today is a crisis of leadership, a deficit of trust, a deficit of leaders with integrity. It needs to be a community project owned by all of us, not just those of us offering ourselves for office, owned by everyone, so that you're telling each other, these are the sort of leaders we need. And everything is simplified for us. Our 2010 Constitution has a whole chapter on the type of leaders Kenya needs. Chapter 6 on leadership and integrity. If it's public finances, there's a chapter. I always say, as a person seeking the highest office, the manual to operate a country called Kenya is the Constitution of Kenya 2010. You can't go wrong if you apply the laws people have made for themselves, because that Constitution has the promise of the sort of country we want. Today it has been abandoned. Someone asked, Janet, you said someone asked, why did women not talk when Linda Mama went? May I ask why the men did not talk? Women give birth for the family, not just for themselves. There will be no tomorrow without children. Linda Mama was not just for women, it was for the society. Let's not live in silos. It is the family who is going to collect the female who has gone to give birth if they are being charged money they can't afford. It is the family who will be in pain, not knowing where to take their daughter or a mother who is about to give birth because they can't afford it. It is you who will suffer the pain when your patient is dying at the gates of the hospital. Linda Mama was not just for women. We shouldn't have expected only female voices. It's male voices as well. And for us in the opposition, how many things are we going to cry about? I was saying this morning that we have a regime that is tone deaf, and it may almost be useless to remind them what they need to do. So the single most urgent thing is to ensure that we have a regime with leaders of integrity that can move the country forward. Currently, we are being treated to little fires everywhere. You think you are out to put out that fire, they light another one there. Before you reach there, there is one behind you. You might end up just going around in circles. We are in a hurry to get the regime out, but we must be very, very careful. It's not the name of the leader at the top or leaders at the top that is wrong. It is the behavior. And you can get rid of one Kasongo and get another Kasongo by another name. We need to be careful so that we get real change. And we've got to assess every leader, I included, on their track record. And you must get the best who can actually be a team leader for the transformation. We don't seek to lead because we have a monopoly of ideas. Ideas are all over here, are on every side. But you have to be able to engage and to get the ideas around. And Kenya has amazing human and natural resources. Kenya is a rich country. Even with the debts that we are having, we can be able to separate what is odious debt and what is legitimate debt. We can be able to stop that appetite of borrowing in order to release the capital from local banks to business. We can be able to lower taxes, and she did mention that they decide how much to levy as taxes. We need to see taxation as a contribution for money to give you service. It never should be a punishment so high that it is punitive, that you no longer can cater for your things. We need to ensure that we give advantage to local businesses. And in Kenya, the largest investor are the SME, who are mainly local. You give incentives to them, you create jobs. SMEs are 7.4 million. Imagine if they expanded by one each. You have 7 million jobs on the table. The easiest way to do jobs is to give incentives to your largest cohort of local investors. It's also to do agriculture, agribusiness. I could talk the whole evening. It's late. Let me end there and say this. We have solutions, not just in the heads of the people wishing to lead. The solutions are with you. And we employ our human resources. We listen to everybody. We rely on your expertise and the expertise at home. We can't go wrong. So our call is tuungane, tujikomboe. The party I lead, People's Liberation Party, PLP, our slogan is Unite, Liberate. Tuungane, tujikomboe. I'm in the united opposition. They are my brothers who too wants to be the chief executives. We have agreed that at the end of the day, we will select one single candidate. But before then, each person must root for themselves. Like that runner, I told you could have a sibling, but will never look back until they cross the line. I'm rooting for myself and for PLP, waiting for a healthy
It's to do with the IEBC. With the IEBC for years we've had issues with it, and we usually don't deal with it before the elections. We deal with it after the elections. And the other very important thing, because I'm in technology myself, is why can't we have a proprietor of elections that we can view the servers? We all know about the server thing. Ijafunguliwa for I don't know how long. So why can't we get somebody that can open those servers that we, other people, can see it? I don't want to hear anything about portals. That portal thing is hogwash for me. I want us to see the actual server. We want to see the IP addresses of how those things from Kim's Kids are coming in. We want to feel assured that the elections in 2027 will be all right, because every time we give up too late, it doesn't matter what has happened in the past. For me, it's just a 2027 healthy elections. This story, we are all in the UK right now. Ikitu ya kuchunga kura kunanga hapa. We are all assured. We have CCTV cameras. We finish voting, tunaenda kulala. We wait for results within a day maximum. Take 7 days to get represent. So for me, it's the IEBC is the biggest issue for us. I know MPs will take care of the votes, the MCAs. That one seat has been a problem in Kenya. So I just need to understand how we're going to, how you and your brothers are going to deal with that, because a lot of us still feel insecure about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Martha Karua, I have a question in terms of, you've mentioned something about governance. From the perspective of defense, we have so many people who are willing to support and to engage and even come to work at home if there's an opportunity. So the question is there a mentorship program for such people who are willing to be such think tanks or researchers who can really look into changing the things that you are talking about? And secondly, if there's that mentorship structure, are you willing to take some of us under your mentorship, and then we can bring some of the ladies who are in defense who are saying, yes, we want to work with Honorable Martha Karua. Thank you.
That's Turkana County represented, right?
No, it's Ugenya.
Okay. Lo, Ugenya. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Honorable Mother, I would like to recommend you for being the first Kenya minister in government to resign. I recommend you for that. You were the justice minister, and because of your integrity, you told the government all the stipends, all the salary, all the vehicles, you just because of integrity. That is something that you stand in history. I also want to ask you about the third gender rule. You have been the advocate in the courts of Kenya. You have been a minister of justice. Currently, we have the justice, Mother Koome as she's the head of Chief Justice. What is this that prevent the third gender being introduced and being passed? Because if the third gender rule is passed, all the women in Kenya would get places in position that they can fight. And you have said that they are 51%. It's passed. The women will get more power, and we will have more women coming into positions of influence so that more votes can be voted to you.
I think we've got two more. Do you have a question here?
Honorable Mother Karua, my name is Annie Petals, and I'm just speaking as Auntie Anne. Could we count on you in creating a pathway for our daughters to be able to take up spaces and places in leadership that you will create to become successful without being disparaged and with integrity intact?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi, Honorable Mother Karua. My name is Francisco Mbogwa. I think you can remember me during the campaign. I would like to actually ask you a question regarding, obviously we've been talking about gender, women, equality. My question is, what specific policies would you prioritize to advance the socio-economic and political rights of Kenyan women, and especially those in rural marginalized communities?
Thank you very much. I think we'll give Honorable Mother Karua some time to answer those questions first.
Yeah, I'll try here, though I feel like I'm in the sky. The first question was by Janet, diaspora. I think one of the things that I would do is ensure that diaspora is involved in government, because the wearer of the shoe knows where it hurts. So beginning with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Directorate of Diaspora would have a strong diaspora person heading it to inform on policy and where there are legislation gaps. And also to, in the actual cabinet, to ensure that there is at least a person from diaspora. If it's not a Ministry of Diaspora, at least a person from diaspora, because I do not believe even in, the Constitution says not less than 14, not more than 24. I don't believe going to 24. You can have a lean, mean cabinet that does all those things. So you may not create necessarily a ministry, but ensure that you have a department that is dealing with the issues and that actually they are dealt with. and diaspora issues would be better be housed by Foreign Affairs, which is a ministry in the presidency. The other thing is IEBC. IEBC is not what we would want it to be. We don't believe in the process that gave birth to it. But now that they're there, we are reminding them they are our employees and they should work for us, not for a person. They have promised to try. We cannot take their word. We can only take their actions, and so far they have not done anything to inspire. But that is not the end of the road. I will not even at this stage ask for the server because they may not open. We asked them, we demonstrated. It was not opened. Never mind the Constitution says open and transparent and verifiable. How else do you verify if the tools of verification are not accessed? So obviously, by the refusal, they were admitting something is wrong. I want to say two things that can help us, even with a terrible IEBC. One of them is for us to join hands as Kenyans, because I know people in all corners of Kenya are hurting. Join hands, get a majority of parliamentarians, a supermajority, being elected on the ticket of transformation, get a majority of counties and governors on the side of transformation, then it becomes pointless to rig the presidential vote. Because if you have a parliament that is 60% or 70% opposition, they will still dethrone you. It becomes pointless. Number two, ensure that we not only mobilize people to take their votes, we mobilize them to vote. We are talking of Gen Z. There are people like you and me who don't vote and they have the vote. They will not have the patience to stand behind the queues. So we mobilize the vote, we vote, and we guard the vote. This coming election, we must do what we did in 2002. We must count and announce polling station by polling station, so that when we finish our ward, we are able to announce the votes for that ward, not just for the MCA, for the president. The Constitution allows us to announce. It's not you who will have counted, it's the officer at the polling station. Then we count constituency by constituency. By 11 o'clock, before midnight on voting day, we must be able to announce ourselves who is the president of Kenya. The rest is just a certificate we should be waiting for. That's what we did in 2002. And the election was okay. But we also did the first thing I started with. Kenyans removed almost all the parliamentarians. KANU was decimated from a party of 120 to a party of 12 people. Tell me how they could have manipulated the vote to go to which parliament? You'd have to manipulate the vote and declare the parliament dissolved before it sits and create a crisis. So there's something we can do, and that is why our slogan is tuungane, tujikomboe. Unity is a must, it's an imperative. Unity of purpose, not of convenience. The other thing, defense and diaspora. Not a mentorship program, maybe joining committees, the various committees, to bring the expertise. Because right now, the activity that is there within the political parties is those committees. PLP is trying to assemble together a shadow IEBC. What do you do with it? To anticipate and advise on what should be done, to check day by day so that we are not caught unawares of whatever hurdles being put in front of us. We have a committee of the United Opposition, a technical committee with members from each party, which liaises with the IEBC. But it's also important to strengthen the committees within the parties, because if it takes time to get the united opposition to react, a party can react ahead of time. So those are areas. Depending on the expertise, let's be in touch. And you need not be in the front line, because sometimes if you're giving services elsewhere, you cannot be the person shouting loudest. But in the back room, we can take advantage of your expertise and be able to work with it. Now, I wasn't the first minister to resign. Achieng' Oneko had resigned as a minister long before me. Joseph Murumbi had resigned as a vice president. I believe there was a third one. I'm trying to remember whether Awings Kothek resigned or he was killed, but I know there was a third minister. So I was one, after a long drought, to resign on principle. And yes, when you resign, you leave behind money, you leave packs. I went back to the back benches, and I was very active in the back benches, enjoying myself even with less packs, because it's about service. It's not about lining your pocket. It's about exiting toxic environments where you cannot deliver to the people, and standing where you can deliver even without the privileges. I'm still delivering without a position. So it's a calling from the heart. The 2/3 gender rule is lack of political will and deliberate violation of the Constitution that Parliament fails to enact legislation to enable. The Constitution already dictates it. And that's why I'm saying a good IEBC would just calculate the numbers required and give them to parties in proportion. Strictly, we do not need legislation. And Parliament was declared by the Maraga Court as unconstitutional. Without fulfilling the gender rule, it is still going on. We are a country of impunity. We will end that. And why the judiciary is not doing exactly what is expected? Because all institutions of governance are under capture, if not total, partial. We get very good judgments from the Human Rights Court in the High Court, from some of the courts, from some in the ranks of magistrates. We have some good judgments from the Court of Appeal, some disappointing ones like the one they gave ahead of time recently, reinstating the advisors. We have a very poor record of the Supreme Court. We will need reforms everywhere, and reforms is making sure the wheels of justice work. Reforms, changing composition of the Judicial Service Commission so that it serves justice, not politics. Ensuring that the law is followed in weeding out the rotten apples in all levels of the institutions of governance, whether it's the judiciary, whether it's anywhere in the justice system, because even the EACC is a mess. We are just in a mess. The police force is a mess. It doesn't mean everybody there is a mess. It just means the leadership and rotten apples that come because of the rot at the top. So we have work to do. We'll do it legally, but it is doable. The other thing that was asked, Auntie, you asked about creating a pathway for our daughters. May I tell you, I'm already doing that. I am very glad that I was affirmed here by my sister here, Marianne, and by the young man who talked about his mother. I get very pleased when I meet men and women from different parts of the country saying that something I did inspired them. So mentoring from a distance by what we do. But yes, we should also have deliberate mentorship programs. And at the level of the presidency, it will be an awareness campaign, changing the school curricula so that you can also have gender relations, healthy gender relations, entrenched right from the education, primary education. Having examples that are patriarchal given in books removed and positive examples given. So there is a lot to do in our country, and all of it may not require laws. Some is just policy and action. The last one, policies about agriculture and such other things. All those are things waiting. And Kenya, by the way, is not short of policies. Even a government like the one that is there now, that is giving us pain. On paper, the policies sound right. It is the action. So we will make policies where they are required, and we will implement what is right and on paper, but waiting implementation. That, like the Constitution is right. Implementation, poor. So I keep giving an example, and this is where I'll finish, that when Kibaki came in, he did not change the law, and the Constitution was not passed immediately. It was passed in the second term. But the week he entered, police were being stopped by the public from taking bribes. The public became participants even before the Constitution gave them the right to public participation in governance, saying we are in a new era, we can't do this. When they refused, when the Matatus refused to obey the Michuki rules, the public decided to walk. It's the Matatus who had to review their hard stance. Leadership is about inspiring people to become part of the change that they want to see. I promise you that. Thank you.
I know many of you have more questions and you'd like to engage more with the Honorable Mother Karua. So only two, because she has to, we have to include a few other, we have a book here that we would like a lot of us to engage. So, two questions.
Asante sana. Honorable Martha Karua, I'm very inspired by your very humble and calm speech, but very powerful. I wonder, you've mentioned united opposition, and you're bringing everyone under this one umbrella so that you can present a united front. And I remember 1992 when Second Liberation started, and all these parties came, and they missed a trick there, because if they had done the same thing, perhaps we would have had better results. My question to you is, when you come together as united opposition, what do you do with the small pockets of people who think that they can also vie for these seats, and then they start to split the vote? Because as Marianne has mentioned here, 7 votes is all that it took. It took 26 votes in a previous election. And I'm just thinking from a national point of view, whether you have any strategies to also take on some of these others, so that the united opposition becomes more of an ideology rather than people just fighting for their own single positions.
Thank you, Honorable Mother Karua. We are honored to have you around in London. My name is Julius Baluto. Last time I interviewed you, it was at Heathrow Airport when you were in transit, Minister for Justice. It's good to have you around here. My focus question is very much to do with making diaspora vote count. So the infrastructure we have right now is a situation whereby we have to vote, everyone has to register and vote within the embassy. Last time I interviewed the late Chepkati, he was giving an example that we cannot, they cannot allow more areas to go and vote or register within the diaspora because the parliament had to pass a law. So number one, I don't know whether the law has been passed. Right now, registering has started in Kenya. Diaspora, it hasn't. So my question is, what will it be done just to ensure that someone in Scotland, which is very far, doesn't have to come and vote in London, register and vote in London, because it's almost hundreds of pounds and asking for permission from work. If diaspora, vote has to matter, then the infrastructure must be changed. Kenyans are scattered all over the place, far places away from London. They need to be enabled.
Thank you very much. I cannot let a Gen Z out.
Thank you so much, Mother Karua, and I'm excited to be in this forum as I'm visiting London to also coincidentally that I happen to be in the forum to be with you. My question is around the healthcare system, especially the NHIF, which is now converted as a SHA, operating and implementing through the SHIF. I am a medical doctor in the Kenyan system, and it's very disheartening when we see our patients not getting the care that they need because our healthcare financing is all messed up. Our NHIF previously was all in one resource mobilizer, a strategic purchaser, and also a provider of the system. I'm happy when the SHIF was now disbanded to have the three functions of healthcare financing separate so that then there is no conflict of interest. So I would assume by design SHIF is great, but what is, other than just the misappropriation of funds, what is happening, what is ailing our SHIF? And I know you have mentioned of us going back to NHIF, but I know the issue could be implementation, but there could be much, much more, and I look forward to your governance around this area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That will be the last of the questions. I know lots of you would want, but you will engage with Mother one-to-one. We will not want to leave some time for that to happen.
Now, the opposition, united opposition, is yet to develop structures or to develop a joint manifesto. Currently, we are just bound by our commitment to seeing that the current regime only stays one term. But we have to go beyond that, develop structures, rules of engagement, and a joint manifesto. Otherwise, we'll walk dangerously, because what we are trying to do is not remove a person, it's a system. And if we do not have structures and joint manifesto, then you can say you are removing Kasongo and get Kasongo by another name. So we are trying our best to see that we do that. And what shall we do if there are other candidates? I believe once we develop a manifesto that is attractive to Kenyans and a joint program of action, and we have structures, a majority of Kenyans, because even now, throughout the country, the majority on any poll by the papers is of one-term movement. But we need to solidify that movement to know which direction we are heading. I believe even if there are other candidates, they will not really split the vote. Do you know in 2002, we did not have, we developed a joint manifesto actually of the National Rainbow Coalition, which was the LDP joined with the NAK, and that's how it became the NARC, the NAC Rainbow Coalition. There were other candidates. It was not just Kibaki. There were fringe candidates. But Kenyans knew where to put their votes. We have no power to stop anybody from running. So once we have one united opposition candidate, it doesn't matter how many are planted elsewhere. The vote will still go, the bulk of the vote, to one candidate. In the last general elections, the votes went only to two candidates. The rest got negligible votes. The votes went to Ruto and Raila Odinga. Kenyans knew where to take their votes. Only that we were so cocksure as Azimio that we fielded our own candidates to oppose each other, sometimes having 6 candidates for the same seat. That is seats below the presidency. That way, we lost almost 30 seats of parliament. The difference between us and Kenya Kwanza could have been close to 50 members of parliament. And that would have insulated us against manipulation of the presidential vote. But because of fielding multiple candidates, the difference was just 12 seats. And once Ruto was declared winner, he quickly moved to talk to UDM from Northern Kenya, which had 10 members, therefore reducing the difference to 0. So one of the things is not to worry about other candidates, is to field one strong opposition candidate and to ensure that we field single candidates, especially for parliament, so that we end up having a strong component of the opposition, over 60% in parliament and in the county assemblies. That way you insulate yourself against rigging. Diaspora vote. I think the diaspora vote is loved and also feared. It is seen as a liberal vote, a vote for change. And when people are not sure that, because they can't be sure who it will favor, the diaspora vote is stopped. It is easy, and we need no legislation to create more centers than one. Where did they have that legislation which said you can only vote in London? It's again lack of political will. I cannot promise you that there is anything we can do to make the current regime, I said it's tone deaf, to be able to change that. But I can assure you, part of the reforms we are seeking is in the manner we vote. Wherever there is a critical number of Kenyans, we should make it possible for them to vote. It's not just the UK. It's in the US and in other places as well. We should agree on what threshold should make us have a voting center in each of the places. Now, the last one, healthcare. They say if it's working, don't fix it. NHIF was working. It had corruption, just like many institutions in Kenya. You don't abolish it because it has corruption. You improve governance. And yes, you can split even NHIF, the regulator and the service provider. That is not an issue. It could have been reformed. The Shah chief has a bad name. Imagine the money goes to Dubai. The account is in Dubai. You know, the Auditor General proved it. It comes in trickle. It goes with a big pipe, comes back with a very thin pipe. And that's why everybody, it's a thieving mechanism, just like e-citizen. Imagine the school's fees is being paid through e-citizen. E-citizen, the Auditor General discovered that they withdrew cash, 1.3 trillion. I don't know with what they carried it, because that's an unimaginable amount, 1.3 trillion. Instead of answering the query, they are dismissing the Auditor General. We know that the Auditor General deals with figures, doesn't lie. The amount of money being stolen in Shah chief as they failed to pay bills. And I gave the example of my father who was admitted recently. We had a bill of about 400. The good Shah paid 17,000, less than he had been forced to pay in order for them to consider his bill, because they make you pay like 2 years in advance. And that's just my father. We were able to pay. How many people are able to pay those bills? You even will lack access to the hospital itself. We were in a private hospital, so it was different. People are failing to get access to public hospitals because of the Shah chief nonsense. So if you ask about in Kenya, people would rather not hear the name Shah. It's like telling me to go back to Azimio, and we left Azimio with a stench of betrayal, you know? But I get you, and I get about separating regulation from service provision. Those are the reforms I did in water. Separating service delivery from regulation. So I get it, but the question is whether you can still call it Shah and Kenyans sleep easy. It would have to deliver. And you need a system that a leader doesn't have to keep shouting, it is deliver, it is helping people. It is the people who give the feedback that indeed it is working. We have so many things to do and so many things to talk about. I apologize that we are not able to talk about all of them. This is just the opening of a conversation. We shall continue both in person and online. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We would have wanted to do more. There's a lot more questions on our Mother Karua. People are asking. I'm being called outside. I'm in text. They are sitting here and they're saying they want to engage. And your feedback today on what you plan to do in your leadership, it's quite inspiring. Now, we will have, as UCAN TV, a place where you can ask those questions, and we will send them to Mother and she will answer them. We would like this discussion to continue from the diaspora, where you engage actively. Diaspora is a catalyst because we do have families. If I look at my family, I've got over 100 people, and I have a way that I can influence them. So diaspora is underlooked in what we can deliver when it comes to Kenyan politics. So for those who've asked me they'd like to have a question, maybe slightly later when we have a minute, because I would also like to say, Honorable Mother Karua does not come with a kitty. There's no handout. I am standing here saying there's no handout. And it's always important to support each other. So she's come up with a book, Against the Tide. Against the Tide. We would like everybody who is in this room today to carry a book home, to buy a book for somebody, not just to support Honorable Mother Karua, but also for you to be inspired by her journey. We are here because we're inspired. I am here and did what I did, even calling all of you guys out, because I'm personally inspired by a woman who never stopped. And I know how many barriers she's gotten along the way. We've been reading about them, but she's still not stopping. Is that enough for you to say, I am getting that book? Please do not leave this room without the book. It's very, very important. So we're coming up to the end of the session, but I will ask for those. Yeah, so please, I will be going around with the books as the next, only 3 because you've texted me. When Mother is answering, I will be, and Alex, where's Alex? Yes, we will be coming and talking to you when Mother is, and so as we can also salvage time. We would have wanted to be out of here latest by 9 o'clock because tomorrow is work time. So earlier than that, and we want to take some photographs. We would like Honorable Mother Karua to be able to sign your book. So we would like to have a session of networking and interaction, isn't it? But it's not good to leave, especially those who really wanted to ask the question. So we have our father here. I could never have said no to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Mother Karua. My name is James Maina Kihungi. I'm from I'm from Nyahururu, Kenya. I have 2 questions for you. And one is that it's been a trend for political leaders in Kenya to go about politicking for those who support them. And that end up with the voters having to vote for people they don't like, but the people, the political leaders, brought up to them to vote for. And we kind of end up replacing thugs with the highway robbers in parliament from the grassroots, MCA, MP, women rep, just because they supported the political leader's party. He or she go about campaigning for them. What is the solidarity of parties doing to ensure that only those who are vetted by the parties are able to vie for those political seats? Because that can, we also agree that those people who are well educated are also able to vie for parliamentary seats, and they are also able to deliver. But when we elect people like Akina Sonko and Waitito just because they belong to this party or this affiliation, we end up having replaced thugs with the highway robbers. All right?
That is the frustration of a lot of Kenyans, isn't it? Yes, the frustration of a lot of Kenyans. Lucy.
Good evening, everybody. Your Honorable Mother Karua, thank you for having this platform for us. I'm Lucy Kihara. And my question is, and I'm a member of Wantam, by the way, that is very clear. So, because Kasongo must go. So, I'm not asking this because I have any issues against it. So that is why I've said it's good I make that clear. But my question is, we've seen the women in leadership have really, quite a lot of them in our country or in East Africa, have been quite shameful, starting with, say, Suluhu herself. I thought that there was a very good governance with the late Magufuli, and seeing that it was left to a woman, I thought, wow, a woman would do greater than what the other person did. But unfortunately, it's been quite a big shame with what we've seen. Then we've got our very own, especially my own MP, Wamushomba, doing even worse. What is it that you're going to do there as a woman to bring the change and let a woman shine and see that, yes, women can be trusted in power and women can be trusted in high offices? And finally, you said about being dethroned in the parliament if you didn't have the numbers. What is it that you're doing for PLP to make sure that you have the numbers? Because I believe as much as there'll be the united alternative government, you still need a lot of numbers for your party to be there. What is it that you're doing to build the numbers to make sure that that time doesn't come and you're dethroned out of position?
Right, thank you very much. Now, I don't think we can give more.
The opposition will move to galvanize and move forward, because Kenyans are waiting and we are getting worried that who is actually going to take us forward with this, future that we're looking to. Secondly, you say that, the women's vote is, the percentage of women is 51%. We know Gen Zs are behind you. I personally have my voter's card and I'm getting on that flight to vote for you. So the question is, when it comes to the vote of women and the Gen Zs and all of the good men who will support you, what are you doing to galvanize the vote of women and Gen Zs?
I do apologize, I really do, because time is definitely not on our side. Please allow me.
What Gikongi is asking is what we can do to stop people voting with the wave. That if it is party X, you will even vote for a known murderer or thief because they're in that party. The 6-piece voting. I think we have to start that conversation, and that's where you come in. You have spheres of influence. We are trying to tell the people, but we need more than a few voices that vet critically all the 6 leaders, not just the presidency. And I said it here, start with your MCA and governor. Those are the people at your doorsteps with your day-to-day services. Vote then the 3 MPs. So for all the 6 seats up to the presidency, from MCA to presidency, critically examine. What if you voted for a PLP president who is me, and found that your the local MCA my party has fronted is not worthy? I would recommend you go ahead and choose somebody else worthy. And therefore, to avoid that situation, we must allow the electorate to guide us. It must not be boardroom decisions who becomes the single candidate. Except for the presidency, where it is high stakes and it may not be a popular vote because we may not develop that infrastructure. We must let the opposition candidates from all parties, we must not zone to say that this party is strong here. Send them to the electorate. They are really wrong. When left alone, they'll give you a candidate of their choice. That way, we avoid making too many mistakes in the type of people we choose. So let's talk of vetting all the candidates. And even a popular politician, what if your track record stinks? Why should you be voted? It means we are replacing Kasongo with Kasongo. Yes, that's what it means. Now, Lucy, shameful conduct by some women leaders, yes, but considering the number of women have been so few, even today that there is shameful conduct, that parliament is full of men. Out of 300 something, there are only 70 women. Out of the Senate, 67, only 16 are women. So if you are looking for shameful conduct, you see repeated shameful conduct of men. We hold the standard so high for fellow women, and I'm not saying they act shamefully. Those who do not deliver, remove them even when they are women. Go for the track record once again. And the problem we are now having is that majority of women who get elected are being elected because men made a decision to give them the ticket. Few are elected on their own steam. If Party X is popular in this area, they give a woman or a man a ticket, they'll go in. Even a majority of men are also elected on the same wave. And that's why we have people with terrible record filling now the parliament at the national level and at the local level. Let's vet them all. I was asked a question in Kenya, similar to this, that now that Suluhu has superintended of a murder in Tanzania, how am I going to be asking for presidency as a woman? I reminded them Hitler was a man. Idi Amin was a man. And the problem, I didn't even go down the whole list. The problems we are having, Ruto is a man, by the way. He's not female. So I say the problems we are having currently in the world, not just in Kenya, is man-made. Very few women leaders. So just one woman makes a mistake, you want to throw it to me? I'll tell you, in Kenya, a majority of the leaders in position are men, and they have taken the country down the drain. And since independence, it has been who? Men. So don't tell me just about Suluhu. Look at my record, look at my credentials, vis-a-vis those of my brothers, and give me my due. So let's not be silenced because of the few mistakes. How then we will, I sometimes write so well that I can't read it. How soon will the united opposition move? I can't this one. Anyway, it's how soon we are going to come up with our manifesto, our rules. We actually tried early this year. We were to have a retreat in February. Then a few of us gave excuses when the time was near. So we are still looking for a suitable date. It's on the table. May I tell you, the pressure from the electorate for us to do better is so much that much as we try to avoid coming together to have a rule-based organization, we are under pressure, and we will do it. And if we don't, they'll forget us, because every day there is something new. The emergency of Sifuna and his team is a great thing because it puts pressure on us. We can be discarded for the new team. We can be forgotten, and tomorrow we don't know who else is popping up. All those are good signs. And I said when I started, competition is good. Believe you me, we'll move to that, because some of us will not play a game without rules. We cannot be saying the country has moved away from the rule of law and we do not want to be bound by rules. If we didn't have rules here, we would not be hearing one another. There would be a conversation at the end, at the middle, sideways, and I would also be talking. None of us would hear each other. We will do our best. We must have rules. And yes, and thank you so much once again. I could see Jim calling, but...
Wow. I think we can stay here the whole night and we still will not have finished the knowledge that Honorable Mother Karua have. Do we agree? Now, I will just request you to support. These books are going for £25. Councillor Elizabeth, come here, come here, come here. It's coming to £25, but if you're feeling like you can actually just support her with £50, that would be amazing. So anybody here who would like to pay £50 for the book? Thank you very much. One has gone £50, Alex. Anybody else who would feel like, yes, thank you very much. Here you go. You.
Please, Ken, put the account details, please. Or even 25, Mother says, and let's get somebody writing down. Wanyaga, you are putting down the name?
As we wait, as we do the selling the book one.